Hello. All right, today I'm doing something a little bit different. We're going into perimenopause. So often we talk more about, or I did PMS, did hormone health. We often talk about periods, but obviously there is sort of that shift for a lot of you where you're coming more into perimenopause. You're seeing that shifts in your periods. You might get more spotting, your periods might not be as regular. So there's all these different things going on that we are trying to support as well over your sort of hormonal shifts. So I think it's really important to touch on perimenopause and the ways that we can support that as well. And I mean, there's a lot of good information in here regardless, but I feel like this is a little bit more specific for those I mean, the age, I never want to put an age on it because some people go into early menopause. Some people find, that around there, a little bit later, it might be like 50s, might be mid 50s, might be late 40s. Like it does vary for person to person. So there are no golden rules around hormonal shifts. But let's get into it. So signs of healthy hormones: good sex drive, energy, strong nails, hair, skin, fast metabolism or healthy metabolism, regular bowel movements, digesting your food well, having a healthy weight so you don't feel like you're constantly battling and fighting your weight is a really big one as well. Healthy regular periods, no pain with your periods, clear skin, ability to put on muscle. So all these things show you that you've got a really healthy hormonal balance, okay? Now, starting from your late 30s, your estrogen does start to fluctuate a lot. So it can go up to almost 3 times higher than when you were younger, and then crash down to nothing. So you see these huge ups and downs with estrogen, which is why we get such shifts in our symptoms, okay? And this is kind of like that, I call it that estrogen roller coaster. And Lara Bryden has a really good book on it called The Hormone Repair Manual, because she has the period repair manual, and then she's also got the hormone repair manual, which is more for perimenopause. And that book is awesome in looking at some of those hormonal shifts as well, okay? So we see those high estrogen symptoms like your breast pain, your heavy periods, fluid retention, mood swings, and some cases of that histamine or mast cell activation. So this can be a gut thing, but we do see that link between estrogen, sorry. I was going to sneeze or yawn, one of the two. Estrogen and histamine. So if you've got a gut imbalance, then sometimes we don't clear estrogen well, but it does also impact that estrogen levels in your body. If you're not clearing it properly, but also you've got this mast cell activation for the estrogen. And sometimes there's more of a allergy type response with histamine, but the most common things I see is like reactions to food, flushing, like red cheeks, reactions to fermentable foods, red wine, those kind of things I see a big difference in. Cheeses, cured meats, anything, leftovers is a big one for histamines as well. And then the dropping estrogen. So the signs of that is like your depression, weight gain, hot flushes, night sweats. So a lot of women would be very familiar with those like sort of real changes in, the sweating, the sleep, that kind of stuff, not only from the estrogen, but also from the declining progesterone. So while we have the estrogen going up and down, progesterone's quietly going away. And I've got a nice little photo of that in a sec. But progesterone shelters our nervous system. So if we had enough progesterone still, we could handle the highs and lows of estrogen better. But often we don't, because that progesterone's disappearing while that estrogen's going all over the place. So progesterone drops with perimenopause because progesterone's hard to make. So estrogen, which is made on the way to ovulation, progesterone's only made after ovulation. And ovulating is harder as you move into your 40s and start to have more anovulatory cycles. So you're having a cycle, but you're not necessarily ovulating. And I see that in younger women as well who are really stressed or high cortisol. If you see someone's progesterone really low, we know you're not having the cycles that you should be having. So if that progesterone's dropping away and your estrogen's all over the place, you're very symptomatic, okay? So heavy periods, insomnia, migraines are very common symptoms of these progesterone issues. So what do we do about it? So we need to stabilize that nervous system first and foremost, okay? So magnesium and taurine are really good nutrients to have in. Magnesium we smash for you guys, so around 400, 500, 600 milligrams of glycinated magnesium, like we chatted about in that PMS workshop last week or the week before. Have a listen back over that and are going to how much magnesium to have. Reducing that histamine, so working on the gut health, so making sure you're having regular bowel movements, good gut flora are all really, really important as well. But then also watching that alcohol intake, cheeses, fermented foods, or things that can spike that histamine response. Obviously alcohol, like I said, and then also taking bioidentical or body identical progesterone, okay? So this is really, really important. It can relieve symptoms of estrogen excess and estrogen deficiency and stabilize the adrenal axis. So there's a really good link here from Lara Bryden on how to use progesterone, the types of progesterone versus progestin, which you get from your doctor, why it's so important, and why we really recommend you get body identical progesterone as opposed to the fake hormones, okay? So have a read of that article or, Google Lara Bryden and bioidentical progesterone, because she's got some really, really great information in it to start to get you understanding as to why I'm going to push you to see a functional GP to get the real stuff as opposed to the synthetic stuff that your regular GP will give you, okay? So this is a really, really important part of your healing journey. So you can see that estrogen all slowly increases till you're in your reproductive year. Then it hits perimenopause, goes AWOL, and then it drops down as we go into menopause, okay? So this is a really, really important part of understanding as to why you're getting all these symptoms, okay? You can see your progesterone, again, slowly just starts to dip away as you head into menopause, okay? So it's quite sort of up and down in peri and then nothing in menopause, and you've got really consistent up and down progesterone with each cycle in your reproductive years. So over the lifespan, so to support these hormones, these are your key things to think about. So magnesium is critical. Like I said, your glycinated form is really, really important. Citrate helps with bowel movements, but magnesium glycinate is the one that will support that nervous system and support that hormonal shift as well. Adrenal support in the form of eating regularly, balancing blood sugars, and your adaptogens. So stuff like withania is really, really good. Your vitamin C is really, really good. And eating enough protein is really important for that adrenal gland as well. So make sure you tap on all areas of that adrenal support, because that will impact your hormones and your PMS. Gut health is really, really important as well. So regular bowel movements, good gut flora, getting adequate nutrients are all going to be critical in supporting this whole picture as well. Caffeine will change the way you detox estrogen through phase 1 and 2 of your cycle, okay? So ensuring that you're not overdoing it or overstimulating yourself or overdriving up that cortisol response is going to help with healthy estrogen levels. Alcohol will impact phase 1 of your detoxing as well in your liver, so really important to moderate our alcohol intake, and also because of that histamine response. Strength training, everyone knows I love Kitty Bloomfield. Building muscle mass and building metabolism is going to be a critical part of your healing, okay? managing stress, managing expectations, managing stress, managing downtime are so important. So a part of that is eating regularly, so balancing blood sugars. Part of that is strength training over high intensity interval training. And then a part of that is also your day-to-day stress and how much you're taking on. Chinese herbs are really, really good. Your black cohosh, your dongku, your ginseng, these are all really great in supporting that hormonal shift as well. Evening primrose oil is fantastic. Love the stuff. Really good for supporting hormonal fluctuations. Linseed or flaxseed is great as well. So having a couple of tablespoons of that each day helps with detoxing that estrogen. And then my favorite one, protein. How much protein are you eating? Are you getting 100 to 120 grams minimum per day? Because that is going to be critical in your healing journey, okay? So they're the main things I want you guys to focus on and start to add in and change. If you haven't done testing for perimenopause stuff, you can do your hormones. So I like saliva or Dutch because we're looking at that adrenal aspect, okay? So it's really, really important to make sure that you're assessing that adrenal component when it comes into perimenopause, because your adrenal glands often get tanked, your DHEA goes all over the place, and then your actual hormone production changes as well. So we want to make sure you have a healthy hormone balance, which means also supporting that adrenal glands, also supporting that thyroid glands, and making sure you're getting enough nutrients in and out of your diet as well. And like I said, the Dutch testing doesn't just do, it does cycle mapping as well. So it's not just testing on days 19 to 22 of your cycle, which is after ovulation. Often I'll get someone to do cycle mapping or do the Dutch complete, but just being mindful that progesterone will be a bit lowered and estrogen is going to be a bit higher because you're not ovulating regularly. So I hope that was helpful. Any questions on this, please find me on Instagram's the best place to send me a DM. You can jump on my website, or you can flick me an email or jump in the Facebook group and pop a question.